So call for order, if everybody would please join us for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you, everybody who's here. Everybody watching the moment. We're starting with the superintendent's report, so Dr. Sarah has a presentation for us.
I'm sharing that presentation with them right now. Yeah, that's the actual goal themselves.
Okay.
The presentation looks a bit different.
Okay.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you to our guests for coming tonight. The goal setting process begins in the summer. Each year we have a Board of Education retreat, and we talk through some of the priorities. We do an evaluation of the previous year's goals and where we landed with those goals and some of the things that we think we'd like to focus on for the coming year. For the 2021-2022 school year, these are some goals that were talked about in our administrative retreat as well as our Board of Education retreat. And I'd like to share those with the community today. I'm showing you the document that will be on our website once the goals are approved. We follow, and I'll get into it a little bit, but this is what it looks like. There's a cover page that begins with our mission statement, as we all do, and then talks about how we follow the SMART goal format, and then it gets into actual goals. And what you will see is SMART is an acronym for specific, that goals should be specific, that they should be measurable, that they are achievable in nature, they are relevant to our mission, and they are time bound. And so when you go through the goals, as I will go through them, you can keep that in mind that we are looking to make sure that the goals are SMART goals. So now what I'll do is I'll flip over. I'm going to shut that down and I'm going to go into that presentation. All board members seem to be in there. That's good. So the Board of Education goals for the San Francisco Preschool District 2021-2022 include the SMART goal format. Again, specific is what will be accomplished. Measurable is what data will be used to measure that goal. Achievable, what actions will we take, and what are the necessary skills and resources that we need to dedicate to make sure that we can achieve these goals. Relevant, does it align with our board of goals, statement of the district? Why is this important to what we do? And finally, time bound, there needs to be a time frame for when we can plan to achieve these goals. Goal number one for our Board of Education continues to be providing a 21st century learning environment. The goal we also have in all of our goals, a goal statement, and the goal statement for this is that the Board of Education is dedicated to providing the necessary resources to ensure district facilities are well maintained and promote a safe and secure 21st century learning environment. We seek to develop a long-term plan to preserve and enhance our capital assets while being mindful of the economic needs and desires of the community. Certainly, it's nice to have wants, but we need to balance that with what our community can afford to ensure that our students can learn effectively in safe and productive environments. So there are 5 goals, more specific in here. So goal 1A is that we will have a 5-year capital plan, including capital bond planning. Essentially what that means is that we need to protect our capital assets. We are aware through our building condition survey report that there are some significant facilities needs. And we are starting the process and starting the conversations in September of 2021 to suggest that in the coming years, we will need to put a bond out to our community. And so we want to be upfront. We want people to be included in that process, and we want people that are interested in learning more about it to be on our facilities committee. So we will be looking to really finalize that 5-year capital plan and figure out when does it make sense to fund through various funding sources a capital bond and ensure our facilities are safe and effective. Create efficiencies and explore alternative methods. We have clearly done much of this. We've contracted with state and local governments to support things like even, purchasing gasoline, putting solar panels on our buildings, or excuse me, in our back parking lot of the high school. All of these things are ways we try to explore efficiencies and work through some shared services. We had hoped that we would not be needing to reinforce these COVID-related procedures, but unfortunately, that's the world we're in right now, and that's the mandate coming from New York State Ed and New York State Department of Health Services and Sub-County Department of Health Services. So ensuring that our facilities are safe for learning is still a priority and remains a goal for us. Establishing a capital reserve. A capital reserve is a sort of a savings account for large projects. We recognize that passing a bond is something that we will need to do eventually, but having a capital reserve is basically when we have additional monies that we can put into that bank account. Hopefully that lowers the amount that we would put into a capital bond. Ensuring the sustainability of technology resources. One of, if we had to call it a blessing of COVID, is the fact that through various funding sources, and not greatly impacting our taxpayers at all, we were able to purchase significant technology resources so that we could be a one-to-one school. And we intend to do that fully this year, even in our elementary grades. However, all technology has a life expectancy, and we need to consider that, and we need to plan for the sustainability of these resources. Smart boards have a life expectancy, laptops have a life expectancy, and our infrastructure has a life expectancy. And we need to consider a regular cycle of investment to make sure that these things will serve us in perpetuity. Goal number 2 is about fiscal and educational solvency in a tax cap environment. We still do have a tax cap. We are very lucky that our legislators, at a time when our schools need to be at our very, very best, our state legislators came through. They gave us funding through foundation aid, fully funded the formula for us, or it will be fully funded for years. And so that was a significant boost to us, for us to be able to run programming that will support our students. That coupled with some federal grant money to support recovery from the pandemic really has helped us. However, we do need to plan and make sure that we are providing the best possible education we can for our students and spending our money wisely. So the Board of Education is dedicated to the development of a stronger and deeper level of fiscal health to meet the needs of our students and the broader community of supporting taxpayers. Through short and long-term fiscal planning, we will enhance programmatic offerings and maintain safe and environmentally sound school facilities. The update of our district reserve plan. Each year, Ms. Loughlin goes through and looks at all of our reserves, examines them, scrutinizes them, and makes sure that we are adequately funded for all of our reserves in the event a rainy day comes. That certainly is something that we want to do, and we want to maximize the funding there so that we can be on solid fiscal ground. Updating our 4-year financial plan. Our financial plan is not a day by day, week by week. It goes out 4 years, and there are projections that we rely upon utilizing pretty sophisticated forecasting software and things like that, and obviously some expertise from Ms. Loughlin as well as our auditors to develop a 4-year financial plan so that we can have a sustainable future and make sure that we can afford to do the things that we're doing and not just go from year to year. Ensuring equitable access to technology resources. Again, we have, this is a little bit about what I talked about before, making sure that we can have technology for all students in our district, making sure everybody has appropriate access, and making sure that we can sustain the resources that we currently have and improve upon them wherever we can. Implement capital outlay projects. Last year, we approved a $100,000 capital outlay project. That was money that was put in, and the benefit of this is we can do some of those projects. It's a third funding source that also helps us to come out of, reduce some of the money we may need for bond. If we can chip away at $100,000 projects per year, or if this gets increased as a maximum, we can do those projects and receive our state aid ratio of 6% the following year. So it really makes a ton of sense to be able to implement these capital outlay projects and make sure that we are doing $100,000 worth of work on our facilities each year at a cost of only $40,000 as we get the aid back, or even less. Goal number 3, students as self-directed learners. This is what we strive to create. We strive to have children who take control over their own learning, that can control not only their learning and take control over it, but their emotions and their overall well-being. So the Board of Education is dedicated to supporting inquiry-based curriculum initiatives and professional development that aligns to rigorous academic standards and social and emotional needs of all students. We seek to develop self-directed learners who are prepared to compete in a technology-driven and globally connected world. This is some of the IB language embedded within this goal, because clearly this is something we believe is something that strengthens our pedagogical approaches if we buy into this philosophy. We are looking to take this first one's a little bit long-winded, establishing a comprehensive educational plan. What that really means is that we learned a lot through COVID, and the hashtag CM Thrives is in place because we believe that what our teachers and our students learned through COVID with technology implementation and making sure that it's a blended learning model to enhance 21st century classroom learning environments. That's what that means. That means that we can take the lessons learned in technology implementation and we can couple that with tried and true practices in our classrooms that our teachers for in-person learning know, and really come back better and stronger and, really provide a better quality education than we ever had in the past. And that's the hashtag CM Thrives. Continue program and curriculum initiatives that include self-directed inquiry and standards-based learning and a positive school culture and climate. Utilizing climate surveys and things like that, and making sure that some of our focus is clearly on the whole child, and making sure we're attending to the social and emotional needs of kids is a priority for us. Focus on individualized education to continue an upward trajectory of student performance and achievement. We are, although some of the tests were, even the Regents exams were not mandatory as they had previously been, we are still looking at data. We are still focused on student achievement, and we are going to continue to utilize that data to make good decisions that are in the best interest of children. Lots of formative assessments and assessments that we can utilize to set goals for students in all academic areas. Enhance resources and services through the counseling center. We want to make tomorrow night, there is a college and career night. Encourage people to come down if you have children in the junior, senior years. But we are committed to enhancing those resources through our counseling center. This year, we also did increase some of our mental health support by adding a social worker to our district. So these are all priorities for us. Communication and community engagement. We know that we can't fulfill our mission unless we have a community that supports what we do here in our schools. So the Board of Education is dedicated to building trust and community support for our school system. We seek to enhance relationships by strengthening partnerships with community groups, endeavor to be self-reflective and responsive to internal, external feedback. We commit to building upon district pride by celebrating the many accomplishments of our students and staff, by engaging the school community through various meetings. What you will see is a more focused, I guess, agendas and calendar for board meetings, where we will have very specific plans for being able to provide presentations that either look at some student data or look at programs that we offer in each of our buildings, as well as celebrate the achievements of our students. And you will see that on our social media campaigns. You will see that in our board meetings as well. So the two goals under this one are to increase communication with the entire school community while enhancing the district image and positive accomplishments. We do a lot of great stuff here, and we want everybody in the community to know it. We want our community to know that we're thankful for the support that they provide for us. Review current policy manual as it exists today. We have a policy manual that is somewhat outdated, and we will be engaging with New York State School Board Association policy review procedures, and we will be looking to get that going this year so that we can make sure that all the policies that we have are aligned to the ethics, the goals, to our community and what our community finds most important. And goal number 5. Goal number 5 is our focus on social emotional learning, SEL, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this is clearly really an emphasis that we feel very, very strongly about, that we need to make sure we strengthen. And we pledge to operate within the district's mission statement to use this statement as well as our district policy to create policies and procedures that support social and emotional learning and equitable practices, ensuring educational excellence for all students and fostering a positive school culture within the Central Education and Fiscal District. DEI is something that we are committed to. Last board meeting, Dr. Soto and Ms. Dench presented a presentation on our equity and education plan. And I think that was a wonderful plan. And it really is about ensuring that every single student that walks into this district feels comfortable, feels safe, and feels celebrated. And when you have an environment that really celebrates all, you have an environment that is set up for success for every student. And that's what we're striving for. And so we have contracted with Eastern Suffolk BOCES for some support for that. We also are in the Long-Term Consortium for Equity and Excellence. And that is, both of those serve to help us with professional development that has a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so our school is placed as our priority. Enhancing a positive school culture, as I said, we have focused on making sure that we are implemented. Last year, we implemented the climate service in each of the buildings. And one of the other things we're doing, and you see on number 4, is screening and support for social and emotional wellness. Tomorrow, I will be attending a mental health first aid training with about 19 or 20 other employees of the Center School District. I'm very excited that that's the first of 4 that we'll be having before December. And we will have upwards of 100, 120 people trained in mental health first aid. The point here is that we can recognize, and everybody can recognize, whether you're a bus driver, whether you're in a district office, whether you're on the lunch line, whether you're in the classroom, as a teacher, as an aide, everybody can recognize if a child is in any kind of distress, and hopefully that will help us to provide better support for our kids. We also have begun to utilize some various assessments to assess students for social and emotional wellness. And I think that those things really make a difference and really help to ensure that our mission to make sure that every child feels safe and welcome in our school environment is one that we can accomplish. So I am very happy with the way these goals came out. I want to thank the board and I want to thank the administrative team for their support in ensuring that we were able to put together some goals that are meaningful, and I think will have a lasting impact on students and members. So if I have any questions from the Board of Education, I'd be happy to take those now.
I just want, as we get more data, we need to make sure that's, you said that, so that's an attempt. All right, good. And I agree with you, man. I like these goals. They're focused, they're easy to understand, they're clear, and certainly we support anything we need to do to hit these goals on a yearly basis. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Laughlin?
All right, I think, well, what I'll do is while Carrie Laughlin, our assistant superintendent, is getting set up, I'll just go through a couple of other items that I'd like to just point out. A few things, anybody that is going past Clayton Huey may see that there's some caution tape out front. We were surprised in the first week of school to see some debris fall off the front of Clayton Huey, and we immediately went into action to bring in architects, structural engineers to make sure that there was no potential risk. However, we have cordoned off that area so that nobody can potentially be injured if there is any more damage that takes place. However, it is something that's going to have to be addressed. As you know, it's an aging facility. It is the oldest building on our campus, and so we do need to attend to that. So I'm going to let Carrie Lockman, our Assistant Superintendent for Business, share a presentation about what happened there and how we might move forward to try to repair the damage to the roof. Thanks, Carrie.
So it's just a quick little overview of what is going on over there at Clayton Huey. As Dr. Massara said, September 7th, it was noted that some of the cement facade on the west side of the Clayton Huey entrance had fallen onto the sidewalks that are over there. The buildings and ground crew immediately roped off the section for safety, cleaned up the debris that had fallen, and we contacted our district architects, BVS, to come in and take a look at the integrity of the structure and the extent of the damage. They then quickly brought in their structural engineer to get up on a lift and into that area so that they could see exactly what was going on and if there's any other future falling cement that would be coming down from over there. So this is just some of the up-close pictures of what you can see there in the picture over on the right. That is where the large chunks of cement had fallen off. The ground view, obviously, you cannot see it as much, but once they were able to get up on that lift and closer to it, they were able to see the extent of damage that was going on up there on that side of the roof. Again, a few more pictures. You can see the cracks. There has been some repairs, some patchwork that's been done there in years past. As Dr. Massara said, it's one of our oldest buildings. It's a beautiful structure, and we are trying to now hold the integrity of that structure and not lose what it looks like. So we are doing our best to see what we can do to keep that and just kind of fix what's going on that one side of the building. The east side is intact and there is no concern, as well as the front side of the building. The structural engineer did look at the entire front entrance to make sure it was only in that one section. And so they did provide us an estimate of repair cost. It's about $476,000. That's a high-end cost. We have not brought in any contractors to bid this project out, take a look at it. We are waiting on a masonry to come in and take a further look at what's going on up there to see if there's any further loose bricks that need to come out immediately. And then with that, our structural engineer can get in and see what kind of damage has been done inside. So essentially what is happening is all of the roofing is pretty much lifting with the wind and the rains that have come in from the west typically, which is causing the damage. The rain is getting in underneath the roof, which is then causing the damage to the bricks and the cement, which is now causing it to deteriorate. So basically our next steps in repairs or investigating this, we have to remove the existing face brick and the flashing that has deteriorated on that side of the building, reflash, reset the stone, do that entire pitch roof. It's just that small section above the entryway there that needs remove and replace. Put new face brick in that would match the current and existing, some new roof sheathing, and some stone repairs on that west side of that building. So that way it all ties in nicely to the existing building. So our masonry is scheduled to come in. We're looking at next week for them to come in and remove any failing stone that's continually there right now. And then with that, our engineers would be able to get a further look into see what kind of damage is underneath the roof itself. So we don't know what exists under the roof. With the removal of that stone, they'd be able to get a better feel and provide a little bit firmer estimates than what we already have at this point. They'll present the findings to our facilities committee. Again, as was mentioned earlier, we do have some committees in place that are supporting the board goals. Facilities committee is going to be a very active one this year as we are looking at the capital plan, 5-year plan, the capital reserve potential, a capital bond in a few years. So we do have a lot of work going on that committee. We welcome anybody to join us in that work that we have going forward. Our first meeting is September 9th at 6 p.m. in district office. We encourage anybody with interest to attend that meeting and get some further information on what we're doing. Then from there, we'll develop a funding plan. We pretty much have two options in order to do this repair of such a costly manner, as it is not budgeted for. We currently have a repair reserve in place. We have about $720,000 in there, and that repair reserve is for things like this. Major issues that come up that need immediate repair, and we don't have it budgeted for, nor the current funding for it. Or the board can pass an emergency resolution because it is a safety issue and use money from our undesignated fund balance, which is our 4%. Being that we have the repair reserve, it is more likely that Facilities Committee as well as administration will recommend to the board to go that route. But like I said, we are furthering our investigative work on this particular issue, and the architects and masonry, they will all report back to Facilities Committee, where we can then have the conversation and make a recommendation at the October 6th board meeting for further steps and what we need to do in order to do the funding to get this repaired. As we said, it is a safety issue. That is why it is roped off, cornered off. The door within the building has been locked and is not able to be used, so the children and staff are coming out from the east side entrance of that front entrance there, as well as the main doors. They are supervised at all times when they are passing through that area. We've extended the rope-off section from what we had originally thought was needed based on the review of the structural engineer. So we believe it is safe at this point in time from the information we've been provided with, and we will continue to monitor the situation. Our buildings and grounds crew is constantly monitoring it as well and checking the area to make sure that there's no other bricks that have fallen each day. So at this point, we are at a kind of a standstill, waiting for further investigation, and we will bring forward to the community and the board further recommendations on the repairs for Clayton Huey. Any questions from the board?
So just because it's a repair, it's not able.
Correct. This is strictly a repair. We are not taking the whole front end and doing major construction. As a result, the state education department does not aid any repair work. They only do new, pretty much new construction is what would be aided. We do still have to go through SCD for permits to do the work, but it would be submitted as an emergency so that it gets expedited because it is a safety issue. So once we are at that point, getting all the paperwork to SCD, we would then go through the bidding process or looking at state contracts for vendors to get the actual pricing, where the board would then award the bids and go through that normal process of purchasing. But it is kind of an expedited way of going about it because it is a safety concern.
Carrie, I just want to be clear so the community knows that the estimate, not the estimate, but the price is from our architect, so we haven't had any hard numbers.
Correct. The 476 right now is a fully loaded number as what, in terms of how we speak, which means it includes contingency costs. Like I said, we don't know the extent of the damage under the roof, so we don't know when we take that roof off what else will be needing repair under there. So the architects put some contingency numbers in there. We haven't had any vendors come out and take a look at it and give us a price quote. It is based off of current numbers that our architects are seeing in bids from other districts for these particular jobs, as well as the fees for the architects to do their drawings and their work. So like I said, it is a high estimate. They did forewarn us that it was going to be a high number. I was hoping it wasn't as high, but we are hopeful that once we actually move through the process and have vendors come out and state contracts or bids happen, that the cost would come in lower than that 476.
And Carrie, at the 29th facilities meeting, you think you have some estimates for both the roof and masonry work?
I don't know if we'll have full estimates. We might have some masonry, more information. We do have BBS attending that meeting so that they can give us a little bit more background of where their estimates are coming from and some further numbers. Hopefully by then we do have a little bit further more information.
Great, thank you.
No problem. Anything else from the board?
Carrie, is there access to the other side of that roof, the side of the building?
There is not, no. Bill Thompson, head of our maintenance, was trying to see if they could get in from the inside up there, but unfortunately there is no access, so it is a get under the roof itself type of job. Nothing else, then I'll turn it back over to the board.
Everybody good? Robin? You good?
I'm good, guys.
Thank you, Carrie.
Yep.
Well, you committee before or prior to that?
So I'll go in and continue superintendent report on page 2.
Okay.
Just a few other items that I would bring up. Our homecoming events are coming up. So October 8th and 9th, we will be celebrating homecoming. We're looking forward to that. Hopefully it'll be a little bit more like a traditional homecoming. We will be having our pep rally on the turf Friday during school hours. All varsity teams will be playing home Friday and Saturday. We will have Hall of Fame inductions at 6:30 on Friday evening, a parade Saturday morning to start at 9 a.m., and then our annual bonfire at 8:30 p.m. on Saturday. So some good things to look forward to for our kids and our teachers and our entire community. So that's exciting, and we're looking forward to it. We do have, as George had just indicated, the committees. Not only facilities committees, we have several other committees, and we would welcome participation. Ms. Barr did put out a survey. If anybody wants to join any of our committees, they can just click right on and join them electronically, and we will immediately get you set up and connected so that you can get all correspondence about the committees. So please check the website if you'd like to participate. We have a couple other things coming out of New York State. As I said, some of the COVID protocols are still here. New York State has mandated that all employees in our school have to have weekly COVID testing, and that's something that we're working to implement. There's one opt-out provision for people who are fully vaccinated can opt out of the testing, but we are working to ensure that we have testing in place by next week for all staff members that have not opted out by submitting proof of vaccination status. So that's something that's going. We also did, as part of the regulations that came out of New York State, we also are obligated to provide testing for any students who wish to participate, desire to be tested on a weekly basis. We have ordered tests through New York State, and when those tests arrive, we will begin testing those students that have indicated they desire to be tested on a weekly basis through their families. Certainly, there are obviously permissions and things like that that need to be included, and we have done that through a digital form that is also on our district website if you'd like to have your child tested on a weekly basis. A couple other things, this year we have to continue our new tradition of the seniors painted parking spots. So I would encourage you to go into the back parking lot and take some of the artwork that seniors put into their painted parking spots. I think they really get a kick out of it. It's a lot of fun. Thank you to everybody that supported us. I know that the first day, at arrival, we were out there and there were some long lines of cars, but I think we've worked through many of that, the arrival and dismissal issues. Still ironing things out. There is, as you heard in the news, a national bus driver shortage. In some states, the National Guard is transporting kids to school, believe it or not. In New York State, it isn't quite that bad, but it is not easy by any stretch. So there have been some issues where we've had to consolidate runs and do things like that and be very creative. But we are still continuing to work through them and optimistic that some of those issues will settle in a couple of weeks. There is some student recognition that I'd like to point out. We have Noelle Jordan, who is a swimmer for us, qualified in her first meet for states. So the first meet of the year, she's already qualified for states. So that's absolutely fantastic. We have Olivia Dench, Miss Dench, for demonstrating some high academic achievement, 95 plus overall, is being awarded by the town of Brookhaven during their Hispanic Heritage Month celebration, and is going to be recognized on October 1st. Congratulations, Olivia.
Congratulations.
Very nice. Proud mom over there. Very good. We're really proud of another one of our students, Jillian Ryan, who organized a Tunnel to Towers fundraiser. And we have a number of people in our community who are going to be doing this with Jillian this coming weekend. And I think it's exciting. We're selling t-shirts to do all these really wonderful things to support the Tunnel to Towers effort. Many people in our community will be joining Jillian for the Tunnel to Towers walk. So exciting stuff there, and congratulations to her for doing really great work for that worthwhile organization. That's all I have.
That's all you have? All right, thank you. That brings us to questions and comments regarding tonight's agenda only. Anyone? No? Okay, thank you. Problem minutes. The Board of Education is asked to accept the minutes of the following meetings as prepared by the district clerk. Minutes of the meeting of the Board of Ed on August 25th, 2021. Motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. Be it resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, accepts the following financial reports. The Internal Claims Audit Report, August 2021. Student Activity Treasurer's Report, June 2021. Treasurer's Report, June 2021. Budget transfer, 2 pages. Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah, can I ask a question about that?
Yep.
I just have a question about the student accounts. Class of 2021, it seems to have a pretty high balance. What happens there?
So that was June 30th balances. They were still paying bills from the end of the school year. And again, these are June because we just finished closing out the books and finished the audit, so now our numbers are solid and done. We're working on the July and August reports, which you will see that a lot of disbursements have gone out. Any money that's then left in there, the principals will work with the advisors, and they usually donate the money to something, another class or the building, or buy certain supplies that might be needed. So again, it's June, bills are still coming in and being paid.
Got it, thank you.
Yep.
Class of 2020 bought those kits, right?
They stopped the bleed for 2 years when they stopped the
2
bleed.
years.
Yes.
Thank you. Do I have to do the motion part again? Motion?
I got it.
Are we voting?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought Robin stopped. Okay. Consent agenda approval.
Yeah.
Consent agenda items are approved by a single vote unless they are moved from being a consent item prior to the vote. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education approves, oh, I'm in the wrong place.
Approve the consent agenda items 9A through 12. Right above.
I turned the page, yeah. Sorry. I don't remember.
Okay. Motion?
Okay. Motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. That brings us all the way to the end, yes?
Yes.
I'm lost without you. So now we're at the end. If you have any comment or question about anything related, you can have 3 minutes. Anything? All right, thank you. Motion to adjourn. Motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Informational items. Our next meeting is Wednesday, October 6th, 2021, exec session at 5:30. We have the audit committee meeting at approximately 6:30, action meeting at approximately 7 o'clock. And it says here the district office boardroom, but I think for the time being, we're going to continue to meet here, so that we have the space to be socially distanced and so on. So thank you very much for coming. Have a safe drive.
Thank you
Have a
all.
good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leonard.